Welcome, dear listeners, to Call the Wordsmith. Today we turn our attention to Play No Game by Angelina Jordan. But before we embark upon this auditory reverie, may I gently invite you, if this channel brings you even a scintilla of joy, to like, to comment, to share your thoughts, and to subscribe so that this growing constellation of kindred spirits may continue to flourish. And should you wish to support the channel more directly, you'll find pathways to do so in the description below. And a massive thank you to everyone who has contributed to the channel thus far. It is immensely appreciated. Alright, so without further bloody ado, let's dive straight into it. Okay, so Play No Game. Let's go. Oh, immediately I am transported to the 50s and the 60s. Lovely, lovely, lovely.
I didn't come here to ask for your name. I came to fall, to play no game.
Love the offset.
To leave behind what I once knew and walk through fire straight to you.
Beautiful lyric.
You said don't come, but I had to try. A heart like mine can pass you by.
Oh, I love the songwriting.
There are no signs for where love goes. No turning back when longing grows.
Oh, sorry to pause, but the songwriting is so beautiful. Her vocal is stunning, and the nostalgia and the music is just, it makes my soul happy. To listen to Angelina Jordan sing, especially in The Secrets of the Soul, is rather enchantingly to be whisked away in a kind of auditory anamnesis, a time slip, not merely into the 1950s and 60s, but into the very emotional architecture of that era's musical soul. There is something exquisitely antiquarian in her vocal timbre, a patina of sepia-toned nostalgia gliding every phrase, as though her voice itself had been gently lacquered by decades of jazz smoke, vinyl warmth, and dimly lit cabaret reverie. Her vibrato does not simply ornament the line, it sighs through it like a living relic of a bygone sophistication, paying homage to an age where emotion was not performed but elegantly unfurled. As this is a reaction and analysis, one cannot help but marvel at how she inhabits the stylistic lineage, not as imitation, but as reincarnation. Lyrically, the opening verse is a declaration of unapologetic surrender to emotional vulnerability and inevitability. I didn't come here to ask for your name. I came to fall, to play no game. Now that suggests a protagonist who has abandoned the trivial ceremonials of courtship in favor of something far more perilous, and that is volitional vulnerability. There is a cinematic boldness here, almost film noir in its fatalistic romance, as though the character, being Angelina Jordan, is stepping into a chiaroscuro lit frame, knowing full well that love is less a choice than an incineration of self. The imagery of walk through fire straight to you intensifies this, invoking a mythic devotion. Love as ordeal, love as purification through suffering. And the second verse I found was, it sort of deepened the narrative of compulsion versus caution, a dialectic between warning and surrender. You said, I don't come, but I had to try, becomes an act of lyrical defiance, suggesting that reason is rendered impotent in the presence of magnetic emotional gravity. The phrase, a heart like mine can't pass you by, evokes inevitability, as though she is singing, or as a singer, she is not so much choosing love as being conducted by it, like iron to an unseen lodestone. And then, most poignantly, the song acknowledges love's cartography, or rather, the absence of one. There are no signs for where love goes, no turning back when longing grows. Love that, because that frames desire as an uncharted wilderness devoid of compass or return. It is here that AJ's interpretive genius becomes most apparent, as she lends these sentiments not theatrical exaggeration, but an almost sacred restraint, allowing the listener to feel the vastness of yearning within the smallest inflection of tone. Okay, well, that was a bit of analysis for you, but let's keep it going. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I always enjoy Angelina Jordan. So, here we go.
No turning back when longing grows. You live in corners of my brain.
Okay.
In every silence, every day.
Oh, the songwriting.
I look around, there's only you. Where can I go?
Oh, the vibrato.
Not to see.
Oh, the songwriting.
Now that I've found you, let me cry like diamonds falling from the sky.
The songwriting.
I'll write your name in every line.
Oh.
And make this broken heart divine.
She's too good. She is so good. I believe the lyrics were written by her grandmother and her. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But honestly, they make a great duo in terms of lyricists. Sorry to pause it there, but oh, how good would it be if Angelina Jordan sang with Michael Bublé? I think that would be absolutely fantastic. Okay, let's get on that. Come on, let's recommend it. Anyway, let's dive into some lyrical analysis. And yeah, I'm loving the songwriting here. This is fast becoming one of my favorite AJ songs. I mentioned Michael Bublé, but that would be a delectable thought. I mean, the imagined confluence of Angelina Jordan and Michael Bublé would be nothing short of sonic alchemy. His urbane, velvety croon steeped in postmodern swing elegance, entwining with her almost spectral old soul timbre, that seems to drift in front like from another decade. I could easily envisage a duet suspended somewhere between smoky jazz club intimacy and cinematic grandeur, where time itself appears to loosen its grip and allow both voices to orbit one another in an exquisite counterpoint. Youthful mystique meeting seasoned sophistication in a kind of musical, again, my favorite word, chiaroscuro. And back to the lyrics, verse 3, we are plunged into a profoundly immersive emotional haunting. You live in the corners of my breath, in every silence, every depth. Now, that evokes an almost psychological presence of the beloved here, as though love has ceased to be external and has instead colonized the very mechanics of existence. Breath and silence, those two elemental opposites of sound, become vessels for obsessional memory. There is something gently unsettling, yet beautifully tender in this ubiquity, as though the lover is no longer seen, but rather inhabited. The lines, I look around, there's only you, where can I go not to see you? Now that deepens this into a paradox of inescapability. Love here is no longer an encounter, but an environment, a totalizing perpetual field from which there is no exile. It is both rapture and quiet captivity, rendered with striking simplicity. And then we move into verse 4. That unfolds like a kind of emotional transfiguration. Now that I found you, let me cry like diamonds falling from the sky. Now, that reframes sorrow not as degradation, but as something luminously precious. Tears elevated into celestial jewels, grief alchemized into beauty. It is a strikingly Baroque image of vulnerability, where emotional release becomes almost cosmically significant. And she goes on to sing, "I'll write your name in every line and make this broken heart divine." Now that completes the metamorphosis. Heartbreak is no longer merely endured, but sanctified, inscribed into art itself. There is an almost devotional ability, or quality rather, as though suffering is being refined into a sacred aesthetic act, and Angelina's interpretive space would, well, I would assume, allow such lines to shimmer with restrained intensity rather than melodramatic excess. And it's an elegant heartbreak, dignified and incandescent. Okay, I think I've paused a few too many times, so let's keep this going and finish it off. So nostalgic. I absolutely love it. Oh, by the way, I'm in a new studio. Thank you to everyone who contributed to that journey.
You broke me soft without a word. Yet did that break a song I could.
Oh.
So let me thank you for the ache.
Brilliant writing.
You made me real, and now I know where I belong.
In my opinion, that is one of her best written songs. I will stand by that. That was phenomenal. Well done, Miss Jordan. Absolutely brilliant. I've got a lot of things to say, so let's get into that. Okay, so we've come to the final stanza here, and it arrives with the disarming tenderness, as though the emotional narrative has shifted from lamentation into quiet transfiguration. She goes on to sing, "You broke me soft without a word." Now that is a particularly intriguing oxymoron. There is no violence in sound, no audible fracture, and yet the damage is intimate, almost imperceptible, suggesting a kind of emotional erosion rather than rupture. It evokes a heartbreak so delicately administered that it becomes difficult to identify the exact moment of breaking, like porcelain hairline fractures only visible when held up to a light. And yet, within the subtle devastation, she sings, "A song occurred," a profoundly artistic revelation that reframes pain not as termination, but as inception. Now, in this sense, suffering becomes the inadvertent midwife of creativity, as though music itself was born in the very instant of emotional disassembly. I love that verse because it takes a striking philosophical turn. So let me thank you for the ache. Now that's counterintuitive, isn't it? Because in its emotional logic, it's suggesting a post-traumatic grace where gratitude is extended not despite pain, but because of it. And this isn't naivete. Rather, it is a cultivated understanding that depth of feeling is often purchased through rupture. And then finally, "You made me real, and now I know where I belong," to finish off. And that completes the arc of the metamorphosis that I mentioned in Quiet Conviction. The beloved here is no longer merely an object of longing or loss, but a catalyst of self-realization. Pain becomes a clarifying force, stripping away illusion until only authenticity remains. There is a gentle existential anchoring here, as though identity itself has been refined through emotional alchemy. In performance, one might imagine Angelina delivering such lines with a softened restraint, allowing the weight of realization to settle not as declaration, but as whispered inevitability. And so we arrive gently, almost reluctantly. I didn't want the song to end, I was thoroughly enjoying that. But we arrive at the denouement of this rather exquisite musical encounter. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Do share them. If you found this journey meaningful, do consider liking, commenting, subscribing, and please do share. It helps the small corner of thoughtful musical exploration continue to thrive. And if you are led to support the channel in a different way, you may do so via the links below. There's Patreon, PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, Super Thanks, and becoming a YouTube channel member. All of those avenues are available to you in the description below and is deeply appreciated. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, do be kind, do be gentle, do be respectful to one another, and help each other out when you can. And I'll see you lot in the next video. Take care. Cheers.